The fire they couldn't see. 198 players got picked before him. Teams looked this kid dead in the eyes and chose somebody else. Coaches flipped past his name like it wasn't even worth reading. The official NFL scouting report, the document that decides a player's entire future, used words like skinny and lacks a really strong arm. That was their verdict. That was what the experts put in writing about Tom Brady. Most people hear that enough times, and they start to believe it. Brady never believed it. Not for a single second. He took every rejection, every ignored phone call, every guy picked ahead of him. He stacked all of it up inside his chest like dry wood and waited for the right moment to set it on fire. His name is Tom Brady, and this is not just a football story. This is the story of a man who got knocked flat, written off, and left behind, and still became the greatest to ever do it. Not despite the losses, because of them. And the moment that started everything, it began somewhere nobody expected. The kid nobody believed in. Tom Brady grew up in California. Regular neighborhood, regular kid. Football was the only thing that made his eyes light up, but nobody was handing him anything. In college at Michigan, Brady battled another quarterback named Drew Henson for the starting spot. Coach Lloyd Carr ran a platoon system, splitting reps between both players, rotating them in and out. Brady would prepare all week like a starter, study the film, learn the defense, get mentally ready. Then game day would come, and he would share the field with someone else. Brady stayed. He put his head down, outworked everyone in the building, and waited for the world to notice. It paid off. Brady eventually won the starting job outright and started every single game in his final season at Michigan. Then the NFL draft arrived in 2000. Round 1, nothing. Round 2, silence. Round 3, 4, 5. His name never came. The room got smaller. The weight got heavier. Finally, in the 6th round, pick 199, someone said his name. 199th. The experts had spoken. They had looked at everything Brady had and decided he was a project, a backup, a guy you keep around in case something goes wrong. They were not ready for what was coming. Please subscribe to my channel, The Rise Nobody Expected. Brady walked into New England carrying a clipboard and a chip on his shoulder the size of a stadium. He was the backup, nobody's first choice. A warm body and a helmet. Then starter Drew Bledsoe took a brutal hit in week 2, and Brady stepped in. His first few games were not fireworks, no jaw-dropping moments, no highlight plays that made everyone stop and stare. Brady was careful, smart. He managed the game, avoided mistakes, and let the defense do the heavy lifting. Coaches called him a game manager, which in NFL terms means don't mess it up. But week by week, something started to grow. The reads got sharper, the throws got crisper, the confidence started bleeding through every single snap. By the time the playoffs arrived, Brady was not just managing games anymore, he was winning them. He led New England straight to the Super Bowl as a 6th-round pick, as the guy teams almost did not draft at all. And on the biggest stage in football, he did not flinch, not once. The Patriots won. Brady walked off with the MVP trophy. Overnight, the nobody became the story. But one championship is just the beginning. Staying at the top? That is a war. And the first real battle was already waiting. The perfect season that fell apart. 2007 was supposed to be the year nobody forgot. The Patriots were a machine. They carved through every team they faced. Brady shredded secondaries like they were made of paper. Week after week, win after win, record after record, the Patriots were unstoppable. 16 games, 16 wins, a perfect regular season. Everyone agreed, this was the greatest team ever assembled. The championship was already theirs. The only thing left was to make it official. Super Bowl 42, Patriots against the New York Giants. Brady and New England were heavy favorites. The world had already written the ending. Then the Giants ripped the pen right out of their hands. In one of the most jaw-dropping upsets in NFL history, New York won. The perfect season was dead. The championship was gone. Finished in 60 minutes. Brady stood in the tunnel after that final whistle, silent, stone-faced. No cameras, no excuses. But inside that locker room, something dangerous was waking up. a monster that ran on heartbreak, and it was just getting started. What Brady did with the loss. The cameras expected Brady to disappear for a while. He did not disappear. Days after that Super Bowl loss, while most players were still staring at their ceilings, Brady was back in the building. Film room, weight room, practice field. Back to work before the confetti from the other team's celebration had even been swept off the ground. People around the program said they had never seen him that locked in after a win. But after this loss, he was operating on a completely different frequency. He stopped seeing the defeat as something that happened to him. He started treating it like a map, showing him exactly where he needed to go next. Every bad play was a lesson. Every mistake was a target. Every moment of pain became another piece of fuel. That mental switch, right there, is the thing most people never figure out in their entire lives. Losing feels like a wall. Brady looked at it like a door, but life was not done testing him, because the next hit had nothing to do with a scoreboard, and it nearly ended everything. The injury that could have ended it all. First game, 2008 season, week 1. Brady takes a hit, crumbles to the turf, torn ACL. Season over before it even breathed. The stadium turned into a graveyard. Players froze mid-stride. Fans watching from home felt their stomachs drop. A torn ACL for a quarterback is not just physical. It gets inside your head. It makes you hesitate on throws you used to make without thinking. It plants fear in places where there used to be pure instinct. Brady went under the knife, spent months grinding through rehab. The ice, the pain, the slow and ugly process of rebuilding a body that just got broken. He sat on the sideline all season, watching other men play his position, swallowing it, using it. When he finally came back in 2009, the experts grabbed their microphones and told the world the truth. Brady is washed. The knee slowed him down. It is over. Find the next guy. Brady heard every word. Then he walked back onto that field and reminded the entire league exactly who he was. Records, rings, and a shocking decision. Brady came back and played like the injury was a bad dream he had already forgotten. Sharper reads, cleaner throws, the same ice-cold nerve under pressure, but now with a hunger that had spent a whole year building up with nowhere to go. He won more Super Bowls, shattered more records, collected more MVP awards than most quarterbacks collect career starts. Year after year, when every expert predicted his decline, Brady just kept going, kept winning, kept proving the timeline wrong. By the time he hit his early 40s, he had more championship rings than any quarterback in the history of the sport. And then, out of nowhere, he blew the whole football world sideways. After 20 years with the New England Patriots, 20 years with the same coach, the same stadium, the same city that made him a god, Brady packed his bags and left. He signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a franchise that had not sniffed a championship in nearly 2 decades. They called it desperate, a farewell tour, an old man chasing one last spotlight. Tampa Bay Year 1 was about to make them all look very, very foolish. The Super Bowl nobody saw coming. New city, new teammates, new playbook to learn from scratch. A global pandemic flipping everything upside down. No fans, no crowd noise, no home field energy. Brady did not care about any of it. He grabbed that Buccaneers roster, pulled them together play by play, and dragged them through the playoffs like a man on a debt to collect. Super Bowl 55, Brady versus the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the most explosive offenses in football. Brady carved them apart. Touchdown after touchdown, drive after drive. The ageless quarterback looked like he was playing in slow motion, while everyone around him scrambled to keep up. The Buccaneers won. Brady won. 7 Super Bowl rings. A number that sounds made up. A number that may never be touched again. When Brady raised that trophy on his own home field in Tampa, the roar from the stands shook the building, and Brady laughed. That quiet, knowing laugh of a man who always saw this coming, even when nobody else did. But the story still had one final twist, and this one hit different than all the rest. The retirement nobody saw coming, twice. February 2022, Tom Brady retired. The football world held its breath, then exhaled 22 years of memories all at once. Tributes flooded every screen. Players who had spent their careers trying to beat him posted paragraphs of respect. Fans cried openly. Networks replayed every highlight reel they had. 40 days later, Brady walked it back. Unretired, just like that. Said the fire was still burning. Said he had more left to give. People laughed. Some cheered. Everyone watched. He played one final season in Tampa. It was hard. The team struggled. The wins were harder to come by. The losses stung in a way that felt different than they used to. January 2023, a playoff loss. Brady walked off the field, cleats clicking on the tunnel floor, and this time he did not come back. His final game was a loss. No perfect ending, no storybook trophy to close the chapter. But here's the thing, nobody remembered the loss. They remembered everything else. Because Brady spent 23 years teaching the world that a defeat is never the final word. And that lesson is the entire point of this story. Why defeat made him the story. Brady did not become the greatest because the road was smooth. He became the greatest because the road tried to break him at every single turn, and he refused to break. Picked 199th, benched in college, lost a perfect season on the biggest stage in football, blew out his knee, got told he was finished more times than anyone can count, left his home, rebuilt from scratch, and still 7 rings, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, the most wins by any quarterback in the history of the sport. Here is the truth the highlight reels never show you. The losses did not slow Brady down. The losses were the engine. Every defeat handed him information. Every setback sharpened something inside him that comfort never could. Every moment the world said, "Sit down," Brady stood up taller and worked harder. That is the whole lesson, right there. Defeat is not where the story ends. Defeat is where the real story starts. Brady got knocked down more times than most people know. But every single time, he made the same choice. Get back up. Get back to work. Make them regret ever doubting you. That is why his name will be remembered long after the last whistle blows. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment. What is the loss that made you stronger?